Excellent!
What's up everybody? In today's video I'm going to be doing a review of the Nyth, Roccat's newest gaming mouse with a special trick. It's frickin' modular. I actually first spotted this mouse back at Computex in June and I was immediately impressed by its ability to swap out the thumb button keys for a crazy amount of customization. Does this flexibility justify the Nyth's hefty $120 MSRP though? Should you click the like button on this video? Let's investigate further to separate fact from Nyth. Myth. Here's a quick look at the retail box for starters. This is the black and gray version of the Nyth, and we're promised a white version as well in November. Beyond the marketing and specifications info on the outside and the peekaboo window, there's some actual useful stuff in here like a quick start guide and warranty info, some stickers that allow you to set the rules, and a replacement side grip which Roccat says is hot swappable. I really like this side grip since it's magnetic, it pops on and off easily, and it actually stays in place once it's on there, and I prefer the wider stance grip that gives you a ring finger rest and an ideally placed rubber strip that's perfectly situated to grip with your pinky when lifting the mouse up off of your mousing surface. Hot swappable though? I guess you have to imagine some MLG scenario where the protagonist is getting worked at whatever game they're playing and they're like, "They're all over me! I can't keep up!" And then the coach comes in from the sides and like, "You got nothing, Rock, you're finished!" But then they like swap out the side grip on the fly and pop in the new one, and then they come back and win the whole thing. That's what plays out in my head, at least. Okay, I get distracted from the accessories. The last thing you get in this box is the plastic carrying case box, which you actually really need because it holds your other side grip and all of the replaceable thumb buttons, which you could easily lose otherwise. Also, these little guys are definitely choking hazards, so keep them away from your toddlers, please. I will come back to the thumb buttons in a bit though. For now, the Nyth overall has an elegantly contoured body with the same soft touch finish on the outside of the mouse that you might recognize from the Roccat tie-on. It feels fantastic, and if the tie-on is any indication, I'm sure it is also quite durable. This is unapologetically a right-handed mouse, so my condolences to lefties out there. Thanks to that swappable side panel though, I think this mouse will work with any type of grip. Claw grippers will likely prefer the narrower setup, and palm grippers, or folks like me who are kind of between palm and claw, will probably go for the wider configuration like I have set up right here. Finally, there's a tightly braided 1.8 meter USB cable for plugging the mouse in. As for specs, the Nyth has a Twin-Tech R1 laser sensor that can go all the way up to 12,000 dpi sensitivity. High DPI or CPI is one of the benefits of a laser sensor, but 12,000, dear God, I can't imagine anyone actually going that high and playing a game. You can even adjust in 1 DPI increments for that laser mouse aficionado in your family who's desperately been searching for a 10,739 DPI sensor. That's the sweet spot right there. It's really just marketing though. Big numbers are good in theory. Realistically, at more reasonable DPI settings and actual use, it tracked beautifully and smoothly thanks to the fast 1 millisecond response time. There are 18 frickin' buttons on the Nyth. Let's count them. Left and right click. You have 12 buttons on the side, the thumb area zone. You also have the easy shift button and the scroll wheel click up here. That's 16, as well as the dorsal fin at the top, the switch which clicks both ways, so it counts as 2. I never got into the habit of using the dorsal fin on the tie-on, which also has it right there. But Kyle actually has gotten so used to using it to side scroll and actually do application switching that he gets mad when he doesn't have it and he has to take his tie-on with him wherever he goes. So it can be useful if you train yourself to use it. Speaking of training yourself, with 18 buttons, I imagine this mouse will take some getting used to if you want to make full use of all them features. The scroll wheel itself feels lightweight but wide and sturdy. It has distinct detents as you turn it, and a very grippy rubber finish that I approve of. So the thumb button area is the super modular part of this mouse. By sliding the slider on the bottom of the Nyth, all the buttons can pop out. You can then replace each button with a blank if you don't want to use that button, or you can swap 2 buttons with one of the double wide buttons that Roccat provides in the little accessory box if you want a more important and larger button. If you're an MMO or a MOBA player and you want all those buttons though, the default configuration with all 12 does seem fairly usable, as the buttons are recessed more towards the top, kind of like a staircase, and the buttons themselves are contoured with edges to help you determine which ones you're actually pressing. If you have very large hands, you might have a hard time pressing the buttons closest to you with the base of your thumb, but I was pretty much okay with my larger than average mitts. Just if you have really big hands, you might have a hard time with that. Out of the box, Roccat will tell you that these buttons can be arranged in 36,738 different ways. Add the Easy Shift button, which you press to activate a secondary set of functions for each button, and math plus number equals 10 to the 24th, or 1 sextillion possible hardware, software, layout, and function combinations. While a sextillion is probably the sexiest number that exists, it's also pretty impractical to grasp, so let's just say that you'll probably be able to find a configuration that you like among all of those. And if you still can't, Roccat has just opened up their 3D printing library through Shapeways, where you can order custom printed replacement buttons to expand your options even further. You can order these directly from Shapeways for between $12 to $17 for a set, or you can download the 3D data files directly from Roccat if you have a 3D printer and modeling programs and you want to get creative and kind of build your own, which I think is the coolest part. Roccat has basically taken the custom keycaps market for mechanical keyboards and applied it to the Nyth, and while this is a niche feature, I actually think it's pretty freaking cool. Let's round things out with a look at Roccat's Swarm software, which handles drivers, firmware updates, and programming. Changing those thumb buttons out is part 1. Part 2 is actually assigning the buttons in the software and telling the Nyth how you've configured the hardware. It's actually a really simple drag and drop UI, very straightforward and easy to work with, and of course you can assign any of the buttons to do any of the things from a complex macro to a simple key binding. Swarm lets you configure all of your Roccat hardware if you happen to have a Roccat Keyboard 2, for example, so you could possibly use Roccat Talk to assign an Easy Shift button on your keyboard that then engages the Easy Shift button for the mouse, and then you can reassign that Easy Shift button, which I probably would reassign to DPI switching or something like that anyway. It also does the rest of the standard mouse-related things that you might expect, including changing the polling rate, click speed, scroll speed, acceleration, lift-off distance, recording macros, saving all the settings to profiles so you can easily switch between them, or even assigning the profile to a game so it changes automatically to that profile when the game is launched. Also, of course, you can adjust the mouse's RGB LED lighting here, and you can individually choose colors for the Roccat logo on the palm and the edge lighting along the base. Settings are saved internally to the Nyth, supported by its 72MHz Turbo Core V2 32-bit ARM-based processor and 576 kilobytes of onboard memory. So the Nyth impressed me with its overall feel and performance, the unique modular thumb button area, and the flexibility of the easily swappable side grips. I like the nod to user customization with 3D printing support, and the Swarm software easily stands up to the software from the competition. Competition is really where there's a challenge though, as this is not the first multi-buttoned MMO and MOBA mouse on the market. There's the venerable Razer Naga, which can be found for $70 or $80 right now. Corsair has their M95, which I also found for about $80, as well as their yet-to-be-released Scimitar, which we recently looked at PAX Prime, which also costs $80, or is going to. Logitech's G600 can be found for $50, so a price drop on the Nyth might make it a more viable option for gamers on a budget. But that's for you guys to decide, and that is all for this video, so let me know if you think the Nyth's feature set warrants its price tag. Links to this mouse, my store, as well as my Amazon affiliate code are in the description as usual. Don't forget to like and share this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss when I post a new video in the future. And as always, thank you very much for watching.